With Virgin Media, you can build up the entertainment and tear down the price. Switch to Virgin Media today and get superfast broadband and TV for just €49 a month for an awesome 12 months. The sale that stacks up. Now on. See virginmedia.ie and check out how our mobile sales stacks up too.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. 12-month contract. Offer ends 27th of February 2019.
Hey guys.
Hey everybody.
How's it going out there?
Hope you're all doing just dandy.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah. Welcome to Thank God I'm Atheist, the podcast.
Yes, with Frank.
And Dan.
And we're in Salt Lake City, of course.
The fair city by the Lake of Salt.
By Salt Lake. Yes.
It's great. I don't know if you've heard this, but the Salt Lake, it's great. What? It's the Great Salt Lake. It's official.
It's true. It's a surreal, stark landscape.
Have you ever been swimming in it?
No.
You can.
You kind of float in it.
You definitely float. That's one of the things. It's so salty. People don't know this. It's so salty you can't sink.
Yeah, it's like the Dead Sea.
Don't dump your dead bodies in there, people.
No.
Learn that lesson from us.
Yes.
Not that we learned that lesson the hard way or anything.
Yeah, that's where my mind went immediately.
Oh, good. What's happening in the world today, Franklin?
Well, I've got a fun little thing.
Yeah.
About Tim Scott. Do you know who Tim Scott is?
He's a representative.
He's a member of the House of Representatives.
That's the United States House of Representatives.
The U.S. House of, yeah. And he is a Republican from South Carolina. He's new-ish, a year. I think he's been in a year, is what we figured out.
An African-American, if I'm not mistaken.
And he's also African-American, yes. And according to him, and this was, he said this at a crowd gathered on Monday at a South Carolina Tea Party conference.
On Monday, Martin Luther King Day.
On Martin Luther King Day, yes.
Okay.
And he says, the greatest minority under assault today are Christians. No doubt about it.
He said no doubt about it?
No doubt about it.
A black man on Martin Luther King Day is talking about how... he called him a minority?
He calls Christians a minority. The greatest minority under assault today are Christians. Christians.
Oh my goodness. That's just precious. What is that?
Well, they're not a minority.
Well, no.
For one,
they're not even close to a minority.
That would be like the first thing I would quibble with.
Right.
You know,
it's like the second most put upon minority is white folks. What is he doing? What is that?
I don't know. He's obviously. That's the party. Obviously, a black man on that day saying that. I hate to be this sort of cynical.
Oh no, you have to be this cynical.
He's looking to be a mover and a shaker.
He is.
You know,
this is a coup for the GOP.
Yeah.
He goes get him to parrot that particular talking point.
And he hates
on that day.
He hates Barack Obama. So on that day, he's also saying the only thing we really have on our minds is beating Barack Obama in 2012.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Santorum or Gingrich or Romney, as long as we put someone in the White House who is currently not in the White House. That's nice phrasing.
Is he somehow trying to tie in Barack Obama to the whole Christians are put upon thing? Because what does that have to do with the Christians being put upon? Getting Barack out. He's a Christian.
Well, yeah, but they don't want to think of it like
no.
There's the lunatic fringe of the Republican Party that thinks that he's not.
Right, but I think he's playing into that.
And all that. Yeah, yeah.
This is what I'm saying is he's making a connection that clearly isn't there, but he's trying to make that connection in people's minds without saying it.
Right, and he's also saying that he doesn't care if it's Santorum or Gingrich or Romney, as he is appearing, but after. I think, am I reading this right? speaking between appearances. Well, he's speaking between Rick Santorum and Newt Gingrich, and he's saying, "I don't care if it's him or it's him."
Well, I think what's really interesting about that is that he's not endorsing somebody.
Yeah, he has refrained from endorsing, and he's not the only one.
No,
I mean, anybody who's smart, like, who would you pick at this point?
Well,
if you were
the writing's on the wall. We know who the nominee is going to be.
But if they endorse Romney, then they are no longer the true, social conservative. They're no longer the Tea Party.
And he's a Tea Party guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a full on crazy Tea Partier guy.
Yeah, in fact, one of the search tags or whatever you call them, that's listed on it is Tea Party Tim Scott. Is one of the tags or whatever.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of this here election season and the presumptive nominee from the GOP, Mr. Mittens Romney Jr. I believe that's his real name is Mittens.
No, it's not.
Just
Mittens?
Just go with it.
Okay.
We're trying to spread this.
You're right. Yeah, okay. I remember hearing that.
I'm Googling it right now. Yeah, Mittens. That's what it says.
He's not Googling it right now.
It says Mittens.
Mitt isn't even his real first name.
It's Mittens.
Dan, shut up.
Okay. Anyway, Mr. Mitters. So a new a book has come out called The Real Romney.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like expose books in general.
Right.
But, they usually try to be mostly accurate. So
sure.
Anyway, so this one, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess they kind of legally have to be.
Yeah, well, they are liable for libel.
Right.
Liable for libel.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so it was excerpted in Vanity Fair magazine. And here's what's interesting. And we've been talking a little bit about Mitt's like how as a candidate, how the Mormon Church might affect his presidency.
Oh, right. Yeah, absolutely.
So this article is talking about a couple of women who had really kind of nasty interactions with Mitt when he was their bishop of their Mormon ward, which is essentially akin to being the priest of a local parish,
right?
Or the reverend.
And does everybody know? I mean, I know that amongst Mormon circles and whatnot, and people who are kind of following the Mitt Romney thing, but is that really common knowledge
that he was a bishop?
That he was clergy? Even lay clergy?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it is. I haven't heard it come up.
I don't have any sense of that. If people are really aware of that fact.
As a matter of fact, this article was the first time I became aware of it.
Oh, you didn't know it before?
Oh,
I had read it somewhere that he had been. But
I think you're right, though, that it's kind of on the down low. That's really weird. Anyway, okay, so people, he was the closest thing that
breaking news
that the Mormons get to clergy,
right?
Because everything's lay there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so while he was a bishop, there was this woman, Peggy Hayes, who was a teenager, or rather, who as a teenager babysat for the Romneys. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
When she was in her early 20s, she was already had a kid. She was divorced, and she got pregnant again outside of wedlock.
Oh, dear God.
And so Mitt went to her house and said, and just exerted a ton of pressure on her to give up her baby for adoption because she was single.
Oh, wow. So not only was he her bishop at the time, he was her bishop at the time.
That's right. So
but he also he knew her. I mean, she was the babysitter.
Right.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just dove in there and put enough pressure that he's quoted as saying, well, this is what the church wants you to do. And if you don't, then you could be excommunicated for failing to follow the leadership of the church.
Wow. And so,
That's
at least as a bishop, he was very, very by the book Mormon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and in fairness, apparently Romney later denied that he had said that, made that threat. He didn't deny that the incident occurred. He just denied that he threatened excommunication. But I mean,
what?
But what's important to me is to point out that this kind of was the church's position. That like the default is if you're an unwed mother expecting, give it up.
That is still their position.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a was. That it is their position.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm wondering about the whole it feels right that there would be excommunication.
I don't know. That one's pretty sticky. I don't know that they'd
it probably depends on your bishop.
It does depend on the bishop and how conservative the whole area is being.
Yeah, absolutely.
The bishop and the stake president who's in charge of a group of wards, so over the bishop, one step above bishop. Anyway, and then there's another woman, Carell Hilton Sheldon, in the early 80s, who was diagnosed. She was pregnant and she was diagnosed with blood clots. And apparently they were dangerous, and her doctors advised her to get an abortion.
Oh wow, okay.
And her stake president actually said, "Yeah, go get the abortion."
Okay.
Romney went to the hospital to talk her out of it.
Whoa.
To make her feel ashamed for considering it.
That's more conservative than the standard Mormon line on that.
Yeah.
That's much more conservative.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
You know, we were talking before we started recording just about the idea that Romney does really seem like with this kind of story, he seems to truly be the social conservative that people are not trusting him to actually be.
Right.
Because
with good reason, because he's been a liberal. While he was in Massachusetts.
Of course. Just
as a matter of fact, he was pro-choice.
He was, yeah.
That fucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
After doing all of this to these women,
he would just because it was politically expedient in the state of Massachusetts. He would go to
Massachusetts and be pro-choice.
Yeah.
God, what a dick.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh man.
No kidding.
You know, it's like I don't want to just hate the guy because he's conservative. If you have ideological differences with me, that's fine.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But man, that is just dick behavior.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
No.
There's nothing okay about that.
Yeah. So, something of a little bit of a flip-flopper.
You think? Wow. Do you think he could actually be painted as that? I wonder if there's anyone in the Obama camp working on...
Oh, God. These kind of stories. I mean, it's just remarkable.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
If by flip-flopper you mean, like, complete position changer, opposite goer toer.
Yeah. A real true flip-flopper.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go.
I mean, I don't even remember what they had against what's-his-bucket, the guy who ran from... Kerry. What was his flip-flopping thing? I don't really recall.
I don't remember either.
Yeah,
but matter. I mean, it was mostly trumped up.
It always felt like it.
Not
this
like
is
this.
Like blatant.
Mitt's like
this is like one of their core.
Yeah.
This is like a core piece of the Republican platform.
Right.
You know, this is
well, and his own
critical piece.
His own party's calling him on, beating the shit out of him about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're running against him, so yeah, they're going after him. But I mean, this is their candidate, and they invented the flip-flop argument.
Yeah.
With the whole Kerry thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's find something fun to talk about. What else do we have?
Well, I have. This is the school prayer thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? With, what was her name? Jessica Alquist?
Oh, in Rhode Island.
In Rhode Island,
yeah.
So the federal judge orders the immediate removal of Cranston School Prayer mural.
The federal George?
Federal judge.
Yes, okay.
Did I say George?
I think so.
Federal judge orders immediate removal of Cranston School Prayer mural. Appeal unlikely, it says. And I actually kind of wanted to read the school prayer.
Would you please? Would you do it reverently, though? Can we all, everyone, if you could please fold your arms and bow your heads.
Our Heavenly Father, grant us each day a desire to do our best, to grow mentally and morally as well as physically, to be kind and helpful to our classmates and teachers, to be honest with ourselves as well as with others. Help us to be good sports and smile when we lose, as well as when we win. Teach us the value of true friendship. Help us always to conduct ourselves so as to bring credit to Cranston High School West. Amen.
Amen. Oh my gosh.
Well,
okay, so obviously
so it was hanging up in the gymnasium
for like a long time.
Oh, it was
For like years and years and years.
Years and years
It's
and
always just been there.
It's yeah.
It's an institution.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, the judge said immediate removal, although he's given Cranston school officials 10 days to respond. This news article is just basically just I mean, we haven't really been talking about this one. I only really became aware of it maybe about a week ago.
Yeah, me
I was
too.
on Twitter, and some stuff was getting retweeted about her and everything. And so I followed and kind of looked at some of the crap that was being said about her, and really nasty stuff. But she was in the fight for a minute. Like, she was actually responding to a couple of them. Well, but it was it was things like like somebody was like trying to just be like, your life is going to be miserable, and she was just like, my life is going to be wonderful.
Apparently she did have to leave the school.
Wow.
It was just getting too intense. I mean, I was looking at it, and I found a sort of list of tweets about her, and they were downright threatening.
So she sued the school district. Is that?
Yeah. Her dad filed the suit.
Okay.
And I think the ACLU was involved.
Okay, right.
But she was listed as the plaintiff, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I just think, some of these things, I'm going to read some of these little just tweets about her.
Okay.
May that little evil atheist teenage girl and that judge burn in hell.
Wow.
I mean, I think that's to the point.
Okay. Not likely.
I hope there's a lot of banners in hell when you're rotting in there, you atheist fuck. # Team Jesus.
Okay, all right.
But then it gets really bad. There's all these threats.
Oh my God!
It literally, like, you little brainless idiot. Hope you will be punished, and you have not win shit, stupid little brainless skunk. And yeah,
skunk.
Let's all jump that girl who did the banner. # fuck that hoe.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Literally, there's a lot of jump her sort of things. Nothing bad better happen tomorrow. # just saying. Yeah.
# just saying.
Hail Mary, full of grace. Jessica Alquist is going to get punched in the face.
Oh, that one rhymed.
Well, yeah, it's
that one's
kind of
cute.
Fun.
Actually.
Cute people, if you're going to threaten violence, make it cute.
And a prayer.
In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Well, that was Hail Mary.
Yeah, exactly. God's going to fuck your ass with that banner, you scumbag.
This God is horrifying.
Right, yeah.
This Christian God is a douche.
Yeah.
Because seriously, do they really... I mean, of course it's an expression, but come on.
I like this one because I don't think they've thoroughly thought through what this ends up meaning.
Okay.
Nail her to a cross.
That could be somebody being...
Yeah, it could be anything. Who knows?
Nail her to a cross.
Yeah. Anyway. Did you read what... One of the things that the judge wrote in his decision was actually nice.
Oh, yeah?
He put, plaintiff is clearly an articulate and courageous young woman who took a brave stand, particularly in the light of the hostile response she has received from her community.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's nice.
That is nice.
Yeah.
It's good to get a shout out from a judge.
You know what? Our community, the atheist community, is banding together to help this girl.
Oh, yeah?
They've actually got a couple of scholarships funds set up that people can donate to. So if you want to, go online and Google it and find the scholarship fund. I've got one here that says it's got over $22,000 for her.
Oh, wow, that's
go
fantastic.
So
wow,
go
that's
Jessica.
A good start.
Go Jessica.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this will get her a scholarship somewhere. Like,
yeah.
I mean, just this
somebody
alone.
will give it. Yeah. That's a girl with a future right there.
Exactly.
Good little atheist girl with a future.
You're hired.
It's more than we can probably say about most if not all, the people who posted nasty comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, probably a lot of them were sad middle-aged men. So 'cause that's who trolls.
Yeah. Well, there is that.
All right. Let's see. Well, was that the news?
No, I got one more thing.
What have you got?
We got a new, I don't know how young he is, a Republican lawmaker in Harrisville, Missouri.
Oh.
I like saying Missouri, not Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he wants all students in Missouri public schools, as well as those in introductory college courses, to be taught intelligent design alongside evolution.
Wait, in college?
Yeah.
As well?
Yeah.
They're expanding their reach on this one.
He has introduced the bill. I doubt it's going to go anywhere, but he's introduced the bill to get it.
Wow.
Yeah, college. I mean, it's wrong for high school.
Wait. This is just something you highlight. I haven't read this article, but this is one thing that you highlighted.
Yeah.
The science of evolution is not in dispute, he says.
No, he doesn't say that.
Who says that?
One of the the president of some. You've got the paper. I can't tell you who said it.
Yeah, you look at it. I'm sorry. I was so amazed. I had to draw it near me.
That was the. Let's see. It's in response because what this lawmaker said was that the jury's still out on evolution.
Oh, yeah.
They all say that.
They all say that one.
And then in response to that, the Josh Rosenau, who's the programs and policy director for the National Center for Science Education,
right,
was the one who was like, no,
it's not in dispute.
There's nothing disputable about this.
The
entire scientific community.
What I thought I was reading was somebody saying, "Oh, it's not in dispute. We just want to add this to it."
Well,
I thought it was like one of those,
right?
Like,
no,
stupid...
he says that the jury's still out, so we have to present both sides of the story. And apropos to our Christian minority thing, he actually also says, I keep pointing to a Gallup poll that shows that 90% of Americans believe in a higher power.
Wow. Yeah, that's such a minority. And 90% minority.
Yeah.
Boy.
Of course, it's not actually accurate.
No, it's not. But 85% minority?
Yeah.
80% minority?
Actually, it's probably a 70 to 75% minority.
Oh. That is just so sad.
It's hard. It's hard to be
not only are
that
they
put upon
a minority that has the majority of the population.
Yeah.
But it is also in decline.
Yeah, it really is.
All right. Okay. Was there anything else with that one?
No.
All right. Well, we have a little fun treat for
our little break
for our listeners today.
Yeah.
This is a video. You know this whole like shit blank says meme that's going on YouTube right now.
Indeed.
Some of them are actually kind of funny.
Some of them are great.
And the one I really liked. Well, the first there was like the shit girls say,
right,
and that was funny. The first two were funny. Right. I haven't seen the third one.
They did another.
Wow. I'm pretty sure I saw a third one.
Let it die.
I know, right? But when you're on top of a popular internet meme, ride that shit. And so anyways, I saw another one. It was like shit white girls say to black girls.
Yes.
And that one was really funny too.
That one was really funny.
That one I was impressed.
She was right on it.
And then the newest, I noticed that the date that it was posted, I think, was the 12th. So this is pretty new. This is Shiz Mormons Say. Okay.
Which I would like to point out is spelled SH not apostrophe, asterisk.
Asterisk. Yeah, right.
Z. SH asterisk Z. You wouldn't want to spell out shiz. That could be offensive.
And so for those of you who have any familiarity with Mormon culture and whatnot, and for those of you who don't, you probably already are aware that they're pretty squeaky clean when they get into large numbers and congregate together. And
they don't like the swears.
They don't like the swears. And anyway. And I guess that's what I meant by squeaky clean, because they can get pretty corrupt and all that. This is that little video, and we're going to just listen to the audio of it.
Dang it. Dandruff. Dang it. Damage. Dang it! Hoof it, damn. Ooh, freak, that's cold right there. Fetch. Frick. Budge. Is there any freaking hot water? Mother, father! French toast. Flip. What the F word? Freaking A. Oh, freak, is that a cop? I don't speak freaking Spanish. What the H is that? What the frick? What the F? What the H, Mario? What the swear word? What the S? What the H? What the frick are you doing? Appreciate your blinkers, shiz. Shiz. Oh, shiz. Shiz face. F, what the? Ooh. No shiz. Shift. Shoe. Shiz. Are you shizzing me? Some good shiz. H, yes. Helen Keller. H, no. Hecka good. Oh, my H. Son of a biscuit. Son of a B. Son of a bishop. Stupid B. Son of a bee sting! I'm gonna kick its ace. Holy Hannah Montana. Crap. Holy Moses. Mom, I said shoot, Mom. I said shoot.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah. So that was.
I've heard a lot of those.
I've heard
said.
Yeah, as a former BYU student, I can attest to the fact that most all of them, I think I've encountered at some point in my life, and also, working with teenagers.
Yeah.
And a lot of whom are Mormon. I've got one student right now who is the queen of never before heard weird little things that she says.
Swearing substitutions.
Swearing substitutions.
Oh
They're
my gosh.
just unbelievable.
Well, I'm personally, I find them so bizarre because you're using them. You're using a word that is meant to sound like a swear word.
Right.
And you're using it in the place where you would use a swear word.
Right.
You're trying to call into mind that. So when my friend posted this on Facebook,
your impulse is the same.
Right.
Your impulse is to go to a swear word.
What do you
go to a placeholder word?
Do you really think you're gaming the system by by saying shiz?
Well, especially because so many people and I remember this actually in a general conference talk that was like, don't young men and young women of the church, do not use profanity. It is the hallmark of a limited vocabulary.
Oh, I remember that. It means that you're too stupid to find better words.
Exactly. And it's like, well, may I present
right, exactly.
your youth today?
Well, I wrote about this actually on thankgodimatheist.com. I wrote a whole thing about swearing because I love it. So you can go and look that up. But the other thing is that when one of my friends posted that video, the shiz video, on the Facebooks, I responded by posting another video, one of my favorite counter arguments to this, from Louis C.K.
Right. Let's have a listen to that.
Yeah, we should play that.
Everybody has different words that offend them, different things that they hear that they get offended by. To me, the thing that offends me the most is every time that I hear the N-word. Not nigger, by the way. I mean the N-word. Literally, whenever a white lady on CNN with nice hair says the N-word, that's just white people getting away with saying nigger. That's all that is. They found a way to say nigger. N-word. It's bullshit, because when you say the N-word, you put the word nigger in the listener's head. That's what saying a word is. You say the N-word and I go, oh, she means nigger. You're making me say it in my head. Why don't you fucking say it instead and take responsibility for the shitty words you want to say?
Hits the nail right on the head, doesn't he?
Yeah, although I did have to post a warning about it not being not safe for work language or something.
Yeah,
because my Mormon friends are going to get so upset.
We might. There's been some language in this episode of Thank God I'm Atheist. This might be our first explicit.
The fuck are you talking about?
Shut up.
Yeah, we've used swears before.
We've used some limited swears.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah,
if we're labeled explicit, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
I'm not going to give up my swears.
But I think the you drop a couple fucks. Yeah. A shit or two, it's no big deal, but I think that clip might have just
pushed us over the edge.
I think that just pushed us into the explicit range.
Okay,
so
well, that's fine.
Anyways, just so
I didn't say it.
Email time?
Yeah. We got an email from a listener that had written. I think she had posted a comment
on the blog.
Yeah. At thankgodimatheist.com. Mm-hmm. And we had mentioned her, which apparently made her giddy.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And we're happy to giddify her.
Yeah.
Well done, Melissa.
Yeah.
So, do you want to just read the second paragraph? Because the first paragraph's just like, hey, I'm the one that wrote in.
Yeah. So it says, I'm in high school, starting there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in high school and I live in Michigan. There are not a lot of Mormons here, but I know about 10 at my school. I can't say I know a lot about the religion, part of the reason I love listening to you guys. So hopefully I don't sound too silly. I do know, however, that their families are pretty lenient when it comes to dating and drinking caffeine. Is this a general phenomenon with Mormons outside of Utah? Well, she goes on, but we should just cover that.
It's an interesting point. I mean, I guess the reputation for Mormons is that they never drink caffeine and that they're pretty uptight about the whole dating thing.
Yeah. Well, I think the joke about Mormons and their caffeine is they just drink it at a different temperature. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they still.
Although, if you go to the BYU campus, you will see Coke machines that do not contain a single can.
They have like a
of
little gold
caffeinated
seal
Coke.
on it that says caffeine free.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everybody has to look like, even though there is nothing official about this whole caffeine thing.
Nothing official.
The caffeine thing is nothing to do with.
When I was a student at BYU, that always rubbed me wrong because the church's actual stance on cold caffeine, and that's kind of just sodas, right? Is that it's no big deal. That is left to the members' own interpretation of the word of wisdom.
The word of wisdom only says no hot drinks, and they don't even follow that.
No, because they'll have the Stevens hot cocoa left and right.
Oh my God, they're drinking that shit down like it's going out of style. They're guzzling that shit. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
it's crazy talk.
Yeah,
they literally they've got this bizarre interpretation of very clear words.
Yeah,
that does not even relate to the words.
Yeah. So that is a really good question about Mormons, and it's a good observation there. So,
well, Frank, you were raised in a Mormon household outside of Utah.
Yeah,
I was raised in a Mormon household inside of Utah.
Yeah,
we should talk about that difference just really briefly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what's your take on being raised in Utah?
Well, I
mean, yours is weird though.
Well, my personal experience, but I had plenty of friends who had other experiences because my parents were pretty liberal about everything.
Right.
So, yeah, my experience was not like what you would consider a Utah Mormon experience. Right. And plenty of my friends also had that. But, like, for instance, when I was a kid, when I was 14, I went on my first date, and it was with a girl.
14?
Yeah, I know.
Now, see, that's 2 years too young.
It is 2 years too young. Although that's not doctrinal either. That's
that's
cultural. Culturally, Mormons say you got to wait till you're 16 to go on a date.
Yeah.
And technically speaking, her father, this girl invited me to a school dance. Oh. She was 15, I was 14.
Whoa.
And her father repeatedly insisted, now this is a party. This isn't a date. And there was a bunch of us together, and he was driving us in his minivan. This is a party.
Right.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever helps him sleep at night, I guess.
And then
his daughter's out on a date.
She and I decided we were boyfriend-girlfriend for a period of time, like 8 months or something like that.
Sure.
But her parents were bountiful Mormons. Davis County style.
Davis County.
That's some hardcore cultural everybody else. Like one time because I was a crazy kid, I couldn't drive, but I took the bus into Bountiful and went to her house and to surprise her.
Yeah.
Knocked on the door. She answers the door, which is kind of cool. And like her eyes got super big and she had this panicked look on her face and she was like, "What are you doing here?" And she steps out onto the stoop and closes the door behind her. "What are you doing here? Why are you here?" And I'm like, "Hey, surprise!" And she's like, No, you can't be here."
Why?
She was freaked out.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So, I mean, that's...
Did you ever see her again after that?
Yeah, but then later her parents sent her to California to live with her aunt for 2 months to get her away from me.
No,
I swear
to get her
God.
away from you.
To get her away from me specifically. specifically because
What
they
did
thought
you do
we were
to that girl?
they thought we were getting too serious.
Did you? I mean, did you guys? What did you do? What did you do?
Oh, if they knew the half.
So I mean, rightfully
kissed.
from in their worldview, she was rightfully sent away.
Yeah, but they didn't know that. What they thought was that we had kissed.
They knew something.
They knew something was
They knew
up,
something. Yeah.
but they didn't know.
They saw some change.
You know what's
some
ironic?
light of Christ faded from their daughter's eyes.
You know what's ironic?
what?
We had kissed and we had made out. We had done French kissing. Kissed
Ooh.
in the French way.
Yeah.
I believe ooh la la is the phrase you're looking for.
Yes.
And then
that
they
was. How
they,
did you know?
they announced that she was going to be sent away, and literally after that, we got a little freaky deaky.
Oh my God.
We never like did the deed, but like there was some wandering hands.
So third base? What's third base? I don't even know what third base is.
I'm not clear on the
I
bases
know
either.
First base, second base.
I think third.
Third.
I think third.
Heavy petting.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
Okay.
briefly. But yeah, that happened.
So-
I blame them. They instituted a policy that forced us to this.
Wow. Star-crossed lovers.
I know. And I want to be clear, Melissa, that I'm not advocating this kind of behavior.
No.
But go ahead if you want to. I don't care.
Oh God. So the whole drinking, caffeine, dating. Okay, so my take on being Mormon outside of Utah.
Yeah.
Whereas, so interestingly enough, Dan was in Utah with liberal parents. I was outside of Utah with very conservative parents.
Right.
And so, which was just, it was miserable. But their whole thing was, 16. I wasn't too interested in the girls, so that
Right.
really kind of
Did you
saved
go
me
on-
some headaches.
Did you go on some dates?
Some little group dates and that kind of stuff. Nothing really. I mean,
what fun is there for a
the
gay Mormon boy to have in rural Oklahoma?
with the Mormon girls, not a lot. Although we had a great time.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
we really did have
Sure.
a great time, but not as a date.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I guess there were a couple instances where it probably was sort of one-on-one.
but in
I had a
general,
really
Mormons
good friend that I think she was like, I mean, as happens a lot with the gay boy
Right.
in high school, has a, doesn't realize he has a girlfriend. Right.
Right.
So
right,
I'm pretty sure that happened to me.
Yeah.
And so,
But I did want to say that in general, Mormons are pro dating.
oh yeah,
They
yeah,
want
yeah.
you to date.
They want you to date because it's all about getting married young and
But
quick
they don't
and
want
all
you to
that.
date before you're 16, and they only want you to date other Mormons.
Right. But they really typically encourage this like group dating thing. They
Oh,
love
yeah,
the
they
group
love
dating
that.
because there's safety in numbers. Yep.
And
And there's usually a strict curfew related to
and
the
obviously
devil.
no sex.
The devil's, what's the expression? The devil's out after midnight or something. I can't remember what it is.
I remember hearing that horizontal was hazardous. If you're gonna make out, you have to do it standing up or sitting up, but you can't get horizontal. You'll be in
I never heard that one.
You'll be in Satanville.
Horizontal. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really funny. But I think that, and I also have the advantage of having lived as a kid, both in California and in Oklahoma. So I saw two very different Mormon communities.
Oh, that's true.
One, I mean, the church, the Mormon church is very well established in California. The city that we lived in had, I think it was like 12 or 13 wards.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it was a well established Mormon community.
Yeah.
I think there were 3 different wards that fed into the high school that I was at. So I mean, typically not your sort of out of Utah numbers, and that community they were California Mormons, and they tend to be pretty moderate on certain things, and they're just kind of relaxed on, in others.
I really like you. I mean, non-Utah Mormons are way better than Utah Mormons
Can be
because they have a sense of how weird they are. They know
that
where their place is.
Yeah, no.
Whereas here, it's like they think
kind of true.
They all think that they're normal.
Yeah, Yeah. Well, yeah. And they definitely feel the weight of their numbers.
Yeah.
And their ability to get things done here. But, the whole caffeine thing, my parents, that was always that would sometimes be an issue. Sometimes wouldn't be an issue. That's how my parents always were,
There is that thing, isn't there?
They'd get strict about no TV on Sundays, and then all of a sudden, that never really worked because my dad is a big sports fan and it just killed him. Right. And so, he didn't realize that that TV tubes make noise when you turn a TV on.
Oh yeah.
And so I would be like in another part of the house and I would he'd turn the TV on with the volume
down. Yeah.
But his older man ears couldn't hear the tube turning on and making the noise. And so I would always just be like, Dad! And I was I was the sheltered kid who really was into it at times.
Right.
Yeah. Like I drank the Kool-Aid a couple different times with Mormonism.
You went on your mission and everything.
Went on a mission, even though I had serious doubts. Like I had some significant doubts about, the Joseph Smith story. Actually, the way that I viewed it at the time wasn't even doubts. That's more sort of the retrospect interpretation of it. I didn't have a strong testimony of it. I didn't have a testimony of it.
The appropriate Mormon speak.
Yeah. And so both with Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon, I didn't have any sense of it being true.
Right.
I couldn't buy it,
Right.
But I wanted it to be true. It's
pretty hard to swallow if you actually apply your logic.
Yeah. And
which, if you want to stay Mormon, my advice would be don't apply logic.
Yeah. I think Mormon families tend to be just like with any tradition. There's a full spectrum.
Of course there
right?
is. Of course there is.
And there's going to be really strict Mormon families and there's going to be more conservative
Although
ones.
Mormonism tends in general to be more strict.
Yeah. They do tend to be, yes.
They're not quite Amish, but they're pretty close.
If they're saying they're Mormon, they're probably pretty strict and conservative.
Yep.
And then Melissa goes on and she says, also, do you know anything about Jehovah's Witnesses? One of my best friends is one, and so far I only know that they're pretty strict with what they can and cannot watch, listen to, and read. And thanks so much for taking the time to read this. Well, I'm not a huge expert on Jehovah's Witnesses. I will say that there were tons of them in Italy, which is really surprising.
We're there.
Oh, yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. They actually are the second largest, or they were at the time, second largest Christian denomination in Italy, behind the Roman Catholic Church.
Wow.
They were huge. There were so many Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, just kind of mind-boggling. They had an amazing organization, and yes, they are very strict. That whole no birthdays. And
no celebration
Christmas
of any sort of holiday. I know that much. I don't know much more about them. Other than they think that there's a limited there's an exact
144,000
of people that get to go into heaven.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've surpassed that.
Well, I think there's a newer interpretation of that. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I remember there being something about that.
Isn't that nice?
But it's a little bit more whatever, symbolic. But I do know, Melissa, this is my advice. Get your hands, if you want a good laugh, okay, get your hands onto a copy of The Watchtower. And I think the English is Awake, I think, is the other publication that they have. Wake Up, maybe.
I don't know. I only know about The Watchtower.
It's Svegliate. Or is it Svegliatevi? I can't...
Spogliati.
No, it's not that one. I think it's Svegliate, which is...
I made an Italian joke.
Wake up! Anyways, they are fantastic. The artwork in these things is just amazing. I always loved thumbing through Jehovah's Witness pamphlets just because they're really bizarre, and they do take their own unique view of Christianity, and their interpretation of stuff is really, really interesting. As we get down, maybe further down the road, we might look at some other faiths. It's never been anything that's been too big on. We should go. What we should do is we should go to a Jehovah's Witness service.
Yeah, and do a review.
And do a review of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Is what we should do.
Yeah. We need to go to church this week, maybe.
God, it's hard. Okay.
Okay. So I know a lot of you love our church reviews, but do you know what we have to put ourselves through to go to these places?
We are taking one for the team.
We really are. But we'll do one. We'll do one.
Yeah. Let's go do a Kingdom Hall thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but so we have a voicemail.
We do have a voicemail.
Yeah, we need to get to that.
Let's play the voicemail. Here we go.
Hey guys, my name's Phil from Salt Lake. I just called to say I enjoy the show. Today's the day after Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I was woken up from my day off by volunteers from the Mormon Church putting American flags in my neighbor's yard. And I was thinking how ironic it was that the LDS Church are putting up American flags honoring a man whom they would not allow in their church when he was alive. So, and now we have a Mormon Republican candidate who, as a grown adult, was a missionary in France preaching that men like Martin Luther King would never be allowed to hold the priesthood because they're black. So, just thought I'd share it. Keep up the good work. I enjoy it a lot. Thanks.
Well, cool. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, what a great point.
My God, it's just right there. I mean, it's such a really good observation.
Mormons now just disavow all of that racism completely. It never happened.
They love their black members.
Oh, are you kidding me? They love their black members. They totally legitimate this church. They adore them. But that's so. And to be clear, Phil. I mean, Phil, I got what you were saying, but Mormons did allow black people in the church.
Yeah, that's true.
They just didn't let the black men have the priesthood.
Right.
Which, I mean, honestly, talk about self-loathing.
Yeah.
How would you like to be in that church?
Should we explain the priesthood just a little bit so that people can really, like, those that are not familiar with Mormonism, like, because priesthood, obviously, it sounds religious-y.
Right.
You know, how are Mormons using this word differently?
Right. And one of the things that I love about the church that you and I were raised in is that I can tell people who don't know anything about the Mormon church, I can tell them in complete honesty that I attended seminary and was ordained a priest in the Mormon church.
It's true.
It freaks people out.
So was I.
We both were.
Yeah.
And we were only...
In fact, at the age of 19, I was conferred an elder.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the LDS church.
Yeah, I was only 16 when I became a priest.
You were like some idiot savant of Mormonism.
It's amazing. We received the priesthood.
Yeah,
Okay, so the way that it works is this. Priesthood is not, it's not about being the head of a church, or it's not about whatever. All the men who are worthy gentlemen in the church are presumed to are going to get the priesthood.
Yes.
Conferred upon them.
Yes. And by worthy, you show up every week to church. You hold probably a church calling of some kind.
Right.
Which is, yeah. And
that's not required.
It's not required, but
expected.
typically it's a good sign that you're a worthy member.
Well, and you have to have interviews.
You pay your tithing.
You have to have interviews with your bishop
Yeah.
where they ask you,
But there are
this.
basic things. It is you go to church,
Right.
and you pay your tithing,
Right.
and
you have a
beyond
penis.
that, and yes, you were born male.
You have to be male.
Yes.
Yeah.
No transgender priesthood.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Remember
Is
what
that the rule?
I'm sure.
Oh, it would have to be.
I don't even have to look that one up.
No.
I know for a fact
That an F to M tranny does not get the priesthood.
Yeah, but what about an M to F who's repented?
Who already has the priesthood.
Who got all...
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And then had his balls cut off.
Now, of course, it's a moral conundrum that they probably never really have to face.
Or very, very rare. Or so rarely
Yeah.
that they don't even deal with it.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting
That's an
question.
interesting question. I don't know.
Anyway,
I actually don't know what they would do with that.
The
But
black
anyways,
thing. So
let's finish with the whole priesthood.
Oh, yes,
Because
yes,
it
yes.
starts at the age of 12. And that's an important detail.
Yeah.
Because that explains the whole why at 16 Dan was able to be a priest and why I at 16 was able to be a priest.
Right.
So there are two... I'm going to get a little specific about this.
Okay,
I think
go
it's
ahead.
important.
Well, I mean, and you know what? Let's just announce what we're doing then.
Okay.
We announcing Thank God I'm Atheist series, What the Mormons Believe.
Yeah.
So this isn't officially part of that.
No.
Officially.
But it'll help.
Yeah. So
It'll help a lot of you.
over the course of the next few things, we're going to be discussing the theology of Mormonism. It's just so relevant right now in
and it's also a common
the US.
theme in a lot of the feedback that we're getting is
People
that
wanna know.
people want to hear about Mormonism from some former Mormons.
And we're happy
you know
to
what?
tell you.
I mean, I served a mission. You grew up in it with Mormon historians for parents,
Yep.
and so we're two people who
Relatively qualified.
were relatively qualified to talk about this. So, so there are two. The word is escaping me. I'm saying two branches to the priesthood.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like the right word for some reason.
I don't know. You want me to try and
Two
look it up?
houses of the priesthood. Anyways,
forms.
There's two levels to the priesthood. Two main levels. There's the Aaronic priesthood and there's the Melchizedek priesthood. The Aaronic priesthood is sort of the lower or introductory priesthood, which is the one that you get first, and it's the one that's conferred on to the teenage boys.
Right.
And there are three. Technically, there's four, but there's three main classifications. There's the
Levels.
deacon levels, deacon, teachers, and priests.
And
So you're going to...
and you achieve these just when you're 12 years old.
You become a deacon.
It's not like a black belt ceremony or anything.
No.
You don't have to have done anything.
You have a basic interview with your bishop. There's like some basic questions. He asks you if you masturbate and all that kind of stuff. and
you lie and say no.
And of course you say no.
Or you say yes and you look really sad about it and he says it's okay.
Right. Yeah. And so there's that. But anyway, so 12 years old for a deacon, 14 years old for a teacher, 16-year-old for a priest.
To become a priest.
Right.
Right.
And then sometime if you're bound for your mission, sometime in the year that you turn 18, you're going to be conferred to the Melchizedek priesthood in preparation for your mission, and you're going to start attending elders quorum meetings because you're now an elder.
Right.
At age 18. You were an elder in the church.
Such an odd designation.
But you'll notice, for those of you who have encountered Mormon missionaries, that their name badges actually say elder and then their last name.
Right.
So I mean that's sort of that's why.
Right. Don't worry, they're not actually elder than you.
No, they're not. And then there's the older men are high priests. They're conferred high priests, and there's also the 70 that used to be at the local level. I don't think they do that anymore. 70.
No,
I don't think. I think they stopped doing that. I remember there used to be the
weird.
70 when I was a kid, but I don't think they do that anymore. Anyway, so the high priests, though, that's going to be like former bishops and former stake presidents,
right?
People who hold like stake callings, or
eventually most older guys
end up being high priests.
High priest. That one's not. That's not pegged to age. The Melchizedek priesthood tends not to be pegged to anything specific.
No. It has a lot to do with like callings that you've held in the church,
Right.
leadership positions that you've held in the church, and whatnot. And with each level of the priesthood,
Each time you level up,
it
should make a little game sound.
Okay. Anyways, so like deacons, they pass the sacrament, which is the Eucharist. That's what Mormons call the Eucharist.
Which is just like Wonder Bread.
It is just
and
it is
and water.
white bread.
White
That's
bread
also
and
important.
water.
It can be wheat bread if under a pinch or some kind of whole grain, but they don't like that.
No.
They want it just to be the white bread.
As white bread as the church is.
Yes. And so deacons, it's really cute, actually. If you're Mormon, it's cute when your 12-year-old brother or whomever is passing the sacrament.
All these pimply young boys in their short
they're so
sleeve,
awkward, and they don't know what to do with their hands once they've passed the tray on. And it's
their clip-on ties.
Clip-on ties and short sleeve white shirts.
Yep.
So they pass the sacrament. The teachers, they prepare the sacrament. So they come early. They They set it all up and
get the bread ready.
Put the bread ready and all the little individual water cups, because
in
that's
the
also
shot
important.
glasses.
Mormons for their Eucharist do torn up pieces of Wonder Bread and little tiny shot glasses of water.
Right.
They don't do wine. Or
Little
anything.
plastic
and
things.
So it's just bread and water. And then if you're a priest, you're the one that's blessing the sacrament. You
Right.
do that whole thing.
And they break the bread.
And they are the ones who break the bread. That's right. While the sacrament hymn is being sung, they stand
while the
up,
congregation sings.
They
break their bread and they pray over
and they
it.
pray, and it has to be precise. The wording on that has to be
set prayer.
Perfect.
To set prayer.
And in fact, it's so much so that they have to look over to the bishop for permission to actually
to
proceed. And so that's
Anyway.
kind of how it runs down.
Yeah. So, but the black guys weren't granted any of this.
No.
Until the late 70s.
Yes, that is true.
That's a big deal. And where it comes from, a number of things. Theologically speaking, they believe that Cain, who killed his brother Abel, in Genesis, was marked with darkness, and this was the origin of black folks, and it was a curse, and they were cursed forever.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing.
gross.
As a matter of fact, here I got a couple quotes here. Bruce R. McConkie, who was an apostle of the LDS Church,
And widely viewed as one of the supreme authorities.
Oh yeah,
on Mormon doctrine. He wrote a book called Mormon Doctrine.
right.
So.
And this is from Mormon Doctrine.
Oh, okay.
Negroes, and okay, yeah, it's a little.
This
is from 1966. Negroes in this life are denied the priesthood. Under no circumstances can they hold this delegation of authority from the Almighty.
Huh.
Until 10 years later.
Well done, Bruce R. McConkie.
Yeah, didn't see that coming, did you? And then there's a whole bunch of other ones. There's this whole idea of the curse of Cain, the mark of Cain. But what it goes to is that, and there's 20 different quotes on this. You can look this up, everybody. But this comes from the pre-existence. Because if you're black here, it means you were naughty in heaven before you got here.
Right. And this is where we're actually going to start this installment of
What Mormons Believe.
Because to really understand Mormon theology and to understand what it is that they're getting at with these temples and with everything, you have to understand the principle of the pre-existence.
Right.
This whole concept that they have in their theology.
We're starting with the very beginning of Mormon cosmology.
Right.
The very beginning.
This is before the earth has been created. This is before. This is
pre-Genesis here.
Pre-Genesis. Which is, So Mormons refer to it as the pre-existence.
Indeed, they do.
And which is strange because we existed. And Mormons believe that all spiritual matter always existed. That it was not created. It was organized, it was formed, but it was not actually created. God didn't create the spirits, our spirits. He
just put them together.
He sort of formed them.
There was spiritual Legos floating around.
Yeah.
But
there was even sort of nascent intelligence. If you really if you really get into Mormons kind of refer to this as space doctrine. You know, it's the weird stuff that maybe Brigham Young or some of the other early Mormons talked about and wrote about, but they didn't. It's not like Mormons get together in their Sunday meetings and talk about a lot of this stuff.
No,
but this is on the books. This is real Mormon belief. And you'll have people actually try to water it down, and they'll try to say that it's not, really what Mormons believe. The apologists
what we should do is we should just read from their book.
we should read from their book, but I was going to get to this whole idea,
okay.
which is I want to put a little challenge out there to a group called Mormon Guard, which is it's a website, mormonguard.org. Their little tagline says, "Helping faithful Latter-day Saints defend the truth online." And one of the leaders of the Mormon Church, M. Russell Ballard, he's a member of the Quorum of the 12, which is one of the highest governing bodies of the church.
Yep. They're pretty fancy.
Pretty fancy. In fact, these are guys who are like waiting to become the prophet.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just waiting for the guy ahead of them to die.
Right.
No one would actually say that, but we all know it's true. But anyways, he gave a little talk about how he says there are conversations going on about the church constantly, and then he talks about how it's happening online. It's happening in this online sphere,
on these
on the internet, and how the conversation is getting. It's not just conversations that are happening in small numbers anymore. It's now happening out in front of thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people.
Well, they're famous
talking
now.
about Mormons.
They're famous. People are talking.
And these conversations need to be well informed.
Yeah.
So many of them are ill informed, and that Mormons need to be, because Mormons have this idea of every member a missionary, right? They're all supposed to be preaching the gospel all the time.
Right.
Well, this is a way that they can do it online.
Yeah.
And so Mormon Guard is setting up like they're sort of being a little watchdog. They're
going out there.
When they see misinformation about the Mormon Church, they're going out and they're attacking it.
All right.
I am not about misinformation at
No.
all.
No,
And
neither. No, that's not what we want to do.
So if we actually do say something wrong, I would love for us to be corrected.
Please. Matter of fact, you don't have to be with Mormon Guard. If you hear us say something that you think is bullshit, call us on it.
At any point. At any point in the show. In fact, we should do a little shout out about the number.
Yeah, here's what you do. You either call us at
424-666-TGIA.
Right. Or you can email us at podcast at thankgodimatheist.com. That's podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Yes, those are the two ways to get in touch with us to join the conversation at any level.
Right. So point anything out that you want to point out. Talk to us about whatever you want to talk to us about, but especially if you have something, if you don't like something that we said.
But Mormons are really touchy about their beliefs and people talking about their beliefs. And so
I understand that.
And well, this goes to the whole persecution thing.
Well, yeah,
they have this persecution complex.
They really do.
And they and all of Christians do. I mean, we've been talking about it this
Mormons
whole time,
take it
but
to
Mormons
a really
really take it to a special place. And so I'm just saying, give it your all, and please correct us.
Yeah. Anyway,
so the pre-existence. What's going on in the pre-existence? You came across something fascinating, and I would love for you to actually talk about it, which is how everything was created beforehand.
Everything. Well, okay. So here's what. So I knew that the theology was that God created all of us in the pre-existence, put us together, and we were all like formed intelligences in the pre-existence before we came here.
Right.
What I didn't realize, and this is from the Pearl of Great Price, which is a little confusing book that the Mormons take as part of their scripture. Mostly, it was written. It was. They think it was translated.
Here's the these were things from Joseph Smith,
right?
And the things that he said translated or received as revelation. Not so much revelation because that's more of the Doctrine and Covenants,
right?
But things that he kind of came across, like there's the Book of Moses, which is he received in Revelation,
right? Which he claims is another book of the Bible.
Exactly.
It's not Book of Mormon stuff.
It's a missing book of the Bible.
Right.
There's the Book of Abraham, which he says that were ancient hieroglyphs that he translated. And an Egyptologist was like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It was Reformed Egyptian, Frank.
It was the Reformed Egyptian. Yeah, it was like funeral chants.
Right.
And he was like... And
it was on papyrus.
It was on papyrus. Anyways, and there's also some Joseph Smith translation of the Bible there as well.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So anyway, going on. So in Moses chapter 3, verse 5, I came across. So I'm looking at all this stuff about the pre-existence, and do you remember a few weeks ago we talked about Mitt Romney and how he said that he thought that evolution was probably how God created humans. Like,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
he said that God created humans, but
He works through.
But the mechanism that he did it through was evolution on this planet.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Moses in the Pearl of Great Price actually says that God breathed life into man's nostrils, and it says, quote, "And man became a living soul, the first flesh upon the earth."
Wow, that's interesting.
Which indicates to me that there was a dude, Adam, walking around with no other animals on, no other critters.
Yeah, and I agree that that's what that's saying. I absolutely agree that the text
I don't know
of that is saying,
I've never heard any Mormon interpret it that way.
No, I know, but you're absolutely right. That is how that text is worded.
Also, in the same verse, it talks about, and I didn't know this. You said you knew this. There's a whole thing about plants having spirits in the pre-existence.
Yeah,
spiritual plants.
Everything.
I did not realize that.
Everything had a spirit.
Yeah.
I remember being told as a kid, and I don't know how widely held this is, but if plants did, I remember a Sunday school teacher saying something about rocks and that the entire planet itself had been created in spirit.
And
before the
and then brought into physical existence.
Exactly.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Kind of funky stuff. But just going back to that thing, I think that the main thing that Mormons really like, the Genesis story, they accept the order of the days, right? So I don't think that Mormons are saying that like, I don't think that there's that belief, and I don't want somebody to call us on that one, which is,
although I will say
I'm not
this,
saying
even Genesis doesn't agree with its own story.
No, I
the
know.
The first two books of Genesis are
true.
completely differing stories of the creation.
But if we're going to be clear about what Mormons actually do believe,
right?
I don't think they go around actually believing how it's written here,
that Adam was just walking
that
around
Adam
by
was
himself.
the true first flesh, that he was the true first thing on the first fleshy thing, which I would take to be of even before the animals.
Yeah,
but that's not what they believe. Okay. They don't believe that.
Yeah, well, that's what it says.
Anyway,
so we've got all these spirits in heaven.
Yes, and what do?
You tell me.
The plan of salvation is laid out before them
by Jesus.
Well, okay. First, I actually need to back up just a little bit because what you need to understand is that Satan, Lucifer, this is not totally unique to Mormons. I mean, Lucifer is the fallen,
fallen angel.
He's a fallen angel and all that kind of stuff. If you get into Catholicism, you're going to find something like that.
Bump up against Lucifer.
Exactly. But let's just read Moses 4. I'm going to do 1 and 2. And I, the Lord God, spake unto Moses, saying, that Satan, whom thou hast commanded in the name of mine only begotten, is the same which was from the beginning. And he came before me, saying, behold, here I am, send me. I will be thy son, and I will redeem all mankind, that not one soul shall be lost. And surely I will do it. Wherefore give me thine honor. Okay. So he's saying...
So that's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
He was running for the office of Jesus.
He was running for the office of Jesus, the second in command to God. And because also, well, we should talk about that. That's important as well. Mormons do not believe in the Trinity. They believe in the Godhead, as they say.
Three distinct
personages. Yes.
So you got
God the Father, God, his Son, Jesus Christ.
Right. Who's a different person.
And then you have the Holy Ghost.
Who's like their sidekick.
And who has not yet received a body. I
like to think of him as Orko from He-Man, from the He-Man cartoons. Little dude who's always just floating around.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys remember Orko. You should Google him. He's cute.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what the Holy Ghost looks like.
So he's running for the office of Jesus.
Satan is.
Satan is
saying, don't pick Jesus, pick me.
Send me. I will make sure that of these hosts of heaven, all these spirit children of Heavenly Father, that they will all return. No soul will be lost.
You'll get to have all your kids back.
You'll get all of your kids back.
And all I want is all the glory for doing that.
Yes. Wherefore, give me thine honor.
Right.
And then it says, but behold, my beloved Son, which was my beloved and chosen from the beginning, said unto me, Father, thy will be done, and the glory be thine forever. Wherefore, because I'm going on to 3.
Okay.
Wherefore, because that Satan rebelled against me and sought to destroy the agency of man, which I, the Lord God, had given him, and also that I should give unto him mine own power, by the power of mine only begotten, I caused that he should be cast down. And so this is, in Mormon speak, is referred to as the war in heaven.
The beginning of the war.
And so what happens is...
I feel like we should have some what's the name? Ken Burns music playing.
Yeah.
Gung, 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 gung.
Some little snare drum thing.
Little flare, little
I
fife.
didn't know where you were going.
It was a
with that
fife.
at first. Okay.
You're drumming, I'm fifing.
Okay. Anyways, it was absurd. Okay. So this is, Mormons call this the war in heaven.
Mind you, by us doing that, we've already become infinitely more interesting than when we learned this in Sunday school. Just by us doing that.
Okay. War in heaven. Let's
get through this. Let's get through it.
Because some of the stuff that's not in here, some of the good juicy stuff about this story. First of all, Mormons believe that also 1/3 of the hosts of heaven sided with Satan.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of presented as though that it was this war, that it was this struggle, and it was put to almost democratic in this weird way. That the teachings of the church are that there was the third over here, and they sided with Satan.
Right.
And there were 2/3 that sided with Jesus.
Right.
And so they play this little numbers game like there's some democratic thing going on here. It's not.
Well, because
it says right here that God already had it all figured out.
Right. And he says that Jesus was his favored, was
Yeah.
already destined to be the guy.
Yeah.
So really, Lucifer was just an idiot.
Yeah. And so
He had a better idea.
Lucifer descends, right? And he takes along with him 1/3 of the hosts of heaven, and they are hell-bent on destroying us.
Right.
These are the tempters. These spirits, they're
already. You say hell bent. They're already in hell. They're
but Mormons they don't believe in hell.
Well, they're in Mormon hell.
They're
in outer darkness, aren't they?
They're not yet in outer darkness.
Oh, but they will be.
They're on Earth.
Yeah.
They've been cast down to Earth. They are in our realm.
Not in bodies.
They're not in bodies. They are spirits.
They don't get bodies.
They'll never get bodies. That was their curse, their damnation, whatever. Right. And so then they are just so jealous of our bodies. They are like crazy jealous of our bodies, which explains like demonic, possession and all that kind of stuff. Because
not that Mormons really get into
it's biblical.
Yeah, it is.
It is biblical.
For sure.
And
but
if you're reading one of those stories about like the 40 swine and the demons cast into the 40 swine, cast into the herd of swine, and they run off the cliff, right? That whole thing. That's
what explains
that. Explains all that kind of stuff.
To be clear, Mormons don't have any current exorcisms or anything like that. It's not a big thing.
It is fringe. It does happen, but it's fringe.
Yeah.
They don't. It's that happens outside of sort of the mainstream.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of this, though, again, there's parts of this that they talk about. There's parts of it that they don't really like talking about, and that they definitely only talk about amongst themselves. They know this is really strange stuff. That this really sounds a little weird.
But so just to be clear, if you've got a body and you're on this earth, you were already on the right side of things in the pre-existence to some extent.
Absolutely.
You were in the good 2/3 who sided with Jesus.
But there are castes, apparently.
It's a caste system. Because if you were cursed with dark skin, it's evidence.
Well, if you were generals in the legions of Christ, you would be born a Mormon. A white Mormon. Yeah. And they believe this. They really do believe that the most righteous in the pre-existence are born Mormon.
And born in the latter days.
So
everyone that was born like back in, medieval times, they weren't as good as the ones who were born now, because these are the latter days.
And we're going to welcome Christ back.
Come on back, Jesus. Literally, so getting back to the whole blacks in the priesthood thing, I found some other great things. Though he was a rebel and an associate of Lucifer in the pre-existence, Cain managed to attain the privilege of mortal birth. He came out in open rebellion, fought God, worshipped Lucifer, and slew Abel. As a result of his rebellion, Cain was cursed with a dark skin. He became the father of the Negroes, and those spirits are not worthy to receive the priesthood. Those spirits who are not worthy to receive the priesthood are born through his lineage.
Who says this?
McConkie again, Mormon doctor.
Wow, I've never heard this.
Yeah.
So wait a second, Dan. So he is saying that the Cain,
Right.
and the sons of Cain,
Everybody who came after Cain.
all the black people after Cain,
Right.
fought against Jesus. They fought on Lucifer's side.
No. He's saying associate of Lucifer in the pre-existence. That is kind of what it sounds like he's saying.
Read it again.
Though he was a rebel and an associate of Lucifer in the pre-existence. It doesn't say that he...
Keep reading.
Cain managed to attain the privilege of mortal birth. He came out in open rebellion, fought God, worshipped Lucifer, and...
Yes!
But I think that was on Earth. I think that part's referring to... Because that part's referring to when he was on Earth, he fought God.
So once he was on Earth, then he sided with Lucifer.
Right.
Oh.
And that's what made him kill his brother.
And that's what made him kill his brother.
Right.
Okay, according to Bruce R. McConkie.
I love this stuff. Here's some other stuff. This is this is Brigham Young.
Okay.
Journal of Discourses. That's a long one. You see some classes of the human family that are black, uncouth, uncomely, disagreeable, and low in their habits, wild and seemingly deprived of nearly all the blessings of the intelligence that is generally bestowed upon mankind. Wow. The first man that committed the odious crime of killing one of his brethren will be cursed the longest, and any one of the children of Adam shall be cursed the longest of any one of the children of Adam. Cain slew his brother. Cain might have been killed. That would have put a termination to that line of human beings. This was not to be, and the Lord put a mark upon him, which is the flat nose and black skin.
Gee whiz.
Trace mankind down to after the flood, and then another curse is pronounced upon the same race. Oh, and this is an interesting thing, because Noah's flood killed everybody but those who were aboard the boat.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But Ham, Noah's youngest son, was married to someone. What is the word that they use?
A Canaanite.
Yeah, but that's not the word. An Egyptian. It's something to do with the word Egypt.
Oh, wow.
But she was apparently black.
Or
of black lineage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then Cain had this whole episode, which is so unfair. Where do you remember? Or Ham? Sorry, Ham.
Okay.
Do you remember this story at all?
No, I don't.
This is biblical. This is in Genesis.
Okay.
So Noah is a vintner.
Okay.
After the flood.
Sure.
And he grows his grapes and he makes wine and he gets drunk off his ass one day.
Okay.
And he falls asleep naked in his tent. And Ham walks in on him and goes, "Whoa, oh, Dad, sorry," and walks away and goes and tells his brothers, "Hey, Dad's naked in the tent. We should cover him up." And they back into the tent so they don't see Dad naked.
Sure.
And cover him up with a blanket.
Okay.
Ham, foreseeing his dad naked, is cursed for life. And his whole lineage is to be servants to his brother's lineages.
Wow.
And that's the second curse of the black folks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Let me tell you something. Brigham Young did not like black people.
No.
He hated black people.
Yeah.
Did you know that he made the Utah Territory a slave territory?
I knew that. Yeah.
Anyway. So, there you go.
That's some wild stuff. I'm concerned about the descendants of Cain. Because what did they do? Did they do something wrong in the pre-existence to be black?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Through okay, so here. Oh no, that's not a good. Source.
So here's also another question, and it's hypothetical in nature, just because. It requires us to make sort of a leap of logic, which is, so what happened the moment they allowed blacks to have the priesthood? In that moment, from that moment on, are these no longer cursed children from the pre-existence, but they're just black? I mean, how does this work? Like, if you're going to try to just make some sense of it, if you're just going to try to apply just a little bit of reason to it, like, how does it actually end up working itself out?
I don't know.
Do they ask themselves these questions?
Because, well, for one thing, I never heard any of this black people were bad in the pre-existence thing when I was in church. Did you ever hear any of that?
I heard a little bit of it. I heard it, but it was such... Again, it wasn't like in meetings. It was just like things that people said.
Right.
It was not like...
But they've backed off of it completely.
Yeah.
It doesn't apply anymore.
But it's absolutely... I mean, it's... First of all, it's in their own scripture. It's things that their own prophets said.
Right. Yeah, it's in the discourses. It's in the literature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Brigham Young said it, it's as good as gold.
Well, he got them into a lot of trouble through the years,
right,
with things that he said,
and maybe
we will get to some of them.
Yeah, we will. As we progress through,
such as the Adam God theory.
Yeah,
that one they don't like.
It's cute.
It's cute, and it's an interesting mechanism.
But it's a story for another time.
But it's a story for another time.
So there you go. That's your first lesson, friends.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it. And welcome to the wacky world of Mormonism.
Yeah, you asked for it. Thanks, guys. That's the show.
Have a good one.
And of course, if you'd ever like to get in touch with us, leave us a voicemail, whatever, please call 424-666-TGIA. That's 424-666-8442.
Or you can email us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
And you can always follow the Twitter feed at TGI Atheist.
You'll be glad you did.